Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, AR the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to discuss an update to the Cleveland Nightclub attack the other day. There's a couple different stories I want to talk about from good old 19 Action News Cleveland there. Specifically, some of the dumbass shit that Bib said last night with that idiot Wayne Drummond, both of which should be fired on the spot and arrested in the state of Ohio because they're both pushing anti-gun narratives against constitutional carry and are complete oath-breaking sacks of shit is what it is, which I'm not surprised in the least. Wayne Drummond has been one of the worst fucking police chiefs in the state of Ohio forever. The only person worse than him in the state of Ohio when it comes to policing is Charmaine McGuffey, who is Hamilton County Sheriff, even though she is a total 100% Michael Bloomberg MDA proxy, and she'd never been allowed to even hold the office just based on the fact that she had direct ties to Moms Man Action anti-gun group. So, yeah. But of course, you got Drummond and Bib's pocket is what it is, and so forth and so on. And they're both a couple of fucking morons is what it is, man. And that's the problem right now. When you have idiotic leadership in your city, it's like no wonder 400 plus cops have left that force in the last couple of years, dude. When you have ineffective leadership, when you have a bunch of pussies trying to blame Pro 2A laws instead of blaming the gunman who did this shit, instead of blaming the actual criminal element that you refuse to lock up in that city, it's not that hard to figure out, man. And that's the problem right now. You have this fucking jackassery going on all over these major cities, whether it be Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, Dayton, Toledo, etc., or even out of state for that matter. You know, Houston, Texas, Austin, Texas, fucking Lansing, Michigan, all these other capitals across the country right now, all these other major cities across this country right now that want to sit there and try to blame guns when in reality it's their ineffective leadership is what it is. It's their lackadaisical approach to things. It's them incentivizing criminals to do criminal stuff by literally, sorry, I had to turn my fan down because it's hard for me to hear. Hopefully that's not catching in the mic or anything. But yeah, the entire point is, though, they incentivize criminals like crazy by giving them, free passes in a lot of these leftist states to go rob and loot and shit places, everything else like that. Steal up to several $100 worth of stuff, or almost $1,000 worth of stuff, without prosecuting them. And then they wonder, they're like, oh, I don't understand why all these stores are closing down in my state and my cities and stuff like that. It's like, it's not that hard to figure out, bro. It's very fucking easy. Or it's like, oh, let's defund the cops for years and stuff like that. And then we have all these police officers that are like, why would we want to basically be railroaded the way that fucking the guys in Minnesota were? No, we're just going to dip the fuck out, bro. Now, granted, that being said, Derek Chauvin's a sack of shit, so is George Floyd for that matter. And so were the rest of those dickhead cops that didn't tell Chauvin to fuck off the dude's neck is what it was. And that's why they're all in prison right now, unfortunately. Because they were too stupid to actually do their fucking job as law enforcement in this country. When they should have easily just had that fucking dude set up and he would have OD'd on his own, man, is what it is. Legitimately, And the autopsy proved that. The autopsy proved that Floyd had all that fucking fentanyl and everything else in the system there. And if they had just set his ass up, he would have died naturally, is what it was, from all the drug overdose stuff. And none of those cops would be in prison right now. But no, Derek Chauvin had to be a fucking idiot and be all like, oh, I'm going to come in here and fucking swing my big fucking dick around and shove his fucking knee into the dude's back / neck area for, X amount of minutes is what it was. And do stupid shit. And then, of course, it caused all these fucking riots in 2020 is what it was then. So, anyway. And, of course, now it's leading to all this stuff now where we have all these cops, quitting forces or leaving one force for another force. Or if they can't, or it's either one or two things. It's basically if they have enough years into retire, they'll simply just retire off that force is what it is and take their pensions and things and walk away. Maybe go be a security guard someplace else in like a safer neighborhood. Or it'll be something where they will simply go and it was a whole situation of shit, let's turn it on now. Oh yeah, if they can't actually have enough years to retire or whatever, they'll just simply move to another force. It's like a lesser, crime-ridden area is what it is then. And that's what we're seeing a lot with Cleveland is what it is, though. So, Yeah, well, what I'm saying is it was Floyd basically taking the drugs that led to his own demise, is what it was. And it did not help that fucking dumbass made the optics be a thing. There is what it is. That's the way I'm putting it out right there. If you understand what I'm saying there. Yeah, Chauvin's a fucking moron because he basically gave bad optics to everybody to basically be playing the fucking race card after the whole thing. Is what it was, dude. Now, granted, were they gonna do that anyway? Probably, but the entire point was he gave them the fucking moment they needed. Is what it was, even though it was 100% on George's dumbass that day. So, anyway, at least George is asked to do the drugs, you should say, at that point. So, anywho, sorry to grab something off of my bed there. But going on to the stupidity here, to piss away more Ohio tax dollars, you got moron Bibb and Wayne Drummond last night bitching about, we're sparing not one expense. Cleveland mayor and police chief speak to 19 investigates on mass shooting. And it said Mayor Justin Bibb is angry and frustrated with the alarming amount of senseless violence happening in Cleveland. Yeah, it's senseless violence, not senseless gun violence, you idiots. It's senseless violence he could easily deal with as mayor if he wasn't a pussy-ass bitch and actually kept criminals locked the fuck up where they belong and actually started trying these juveniles as adults when they're committing adult crimes. And yet now he's bitching and moaning about, like, oh yeah, now we're going to use the full extent of the law and prosecute to the full extent of the law. It's like, why weren't you already doing that, you fucking clown-ass bitch? Oh yeah, that's right, because you're an ineffectual anti-gun nothing whose entire campaign for mayor was pretty much funded by the anti-gun left. So, anyway. Let's see. Bibb has repeatedly expressed his frustration with current gun laws, saying he wants to, but can't do more on local levels. No, what he wants is total disarmament of Clevelanders is what it is. Instead of actually dealing with the root cause issue, which, like I've said many times, is 1, fatherless homes, 2, fucking gangs. And the fact that you have one of the Cleveland City Council members, Michael Palaska, I think that's what I pronounce the guy's name, who, by the way, should be mayor of Cleveland right now. I'm going to say it like it is right now, dude. Because that dude's whole thing is, I don't care if you have to bring in the fucking 82nd Airborne, deal with these fucking gangs, go to these Section 8 houses, and rip them all the fuck out of there is what it is in one shot. And that's what I've said for some time now, actually, dude, when it comes to this state, honestly. This is my biggest problem with cops and law enforcement in general in this country. You know that this gang is the fucking problem, dude. Set up fucking stages to take their asses out is what it is. And by that, I mean, don't leave a fucking power vacuum that's going to be filled with even worse people. What you do is you set up a two-pronged attack, basically, where you have stage 1 being to remove the criminal element out of this neighborhood, you know, this one gang or these 2 gangs, whatever it is there. And then meanwhile, at the same time, you're building up leadership into that community for actual community leaders, whether it be, you know, some older people, whether it be some, you know, middle-aged people, whatever the case be, you know, some 20-somethings, some 30-somethings maybe, that are going to be the actual leadership of that area and be able to protect their neighborhoods then from the criminal element coming back into them. And you give these people the fucking full backing and stuff like that, and you say to the neighborhoods, be like, hey, this is who y'all need to be, you know, contacting if something goes down, and they can get a hold of us then. Or listen to what they're saying or whatever it is then. And then that way, you then have that, you know, actual community coming together and have actual community policing going on again. And at the same time, you're getting rid of the criminal element on the opposite side of the fucking field then. And I think that's the problem right now, is that instead of that, what we're seeing again and again and again, you know, repetitive insanity is what it is in this country, where you'll have some police force walk into some place like that, whether it be Section 8 or whatever the case, it doesn't really matter, you know, some ghetto slum area or whatever, some major city. They'll find the criminal element. They'll take out the kingpin in most cases, you know, one guy at the top or whatever the case be of like one gang. And then meanwhile, all that's going to do is lead to this power structure thing underneath that, to where you have all the lieutenants and stuff like that kill each other to assume new leadership is what it is. Or what's even worse is, because you took out that kingpin from that gang, now there's this other rival gang that's going to be more powerful is what it is then. Instead of dealing with the actual, you know, root cause issue of the whole thing and the overall violence from these criminals by just arresting them all is what it is then. You know? And it's actually kind of interesting because if you watch Mayor of Kingstown, the second season of that was actually really good, by the way. I watched that recently. And basically the gist of it was you had 4 different gangs that were controlling that whole area is what it was. And you had the leadership of all of them arrested after the first season to basically go in and pick new leaders inside the prisons, because apparently the prisons in that universe control like the whole outside is what it is. And you had basically like all kinds of random attacks going on in the prison after the first season because of the riot and shit. And so you had to bring all the guys that were the leadership of these other 4 gangs, whether it be, you know, Crips and Bloods or I'm trying to think what the one was, like MS-13 kind of types or whatever. And then it was like Aryan Nation guys or something was like the 4th one. And they brought those dudes in there to basically, you know, figure out like who was going to be the leadership inside then after the fact is what it was. It was actually a really good season for sure. I'm looking forward to season 3 if it ever happens. I don't know if it will though, because I know Jeremy Renner is all messed up now from his accident when he had that plow accident and stuff. And I think he said he's going to retire from acting. So unless they would do some like AI deep fake stuff or whatever with him in that, because he's a pretty big essential part of that show actually. So unless they're going to have him in like a chair or something like that for like 2 episodes or something, and then that's all he's going to be in there for or whatever, and it's going to be like this whole other thing written out or whatever then, like I don't know. But either way, very interesting series. But anywho, I think that's the problem right now though, is that you have, you know, police not doing their job properly and actually having real community policing in this country anymore. What you end up having is you have a situation where it's basically like over policing, militarized policing, like Obama loved to put in place there when he was president. And that's the one thing we've seen for, you know, about the last decade or so of our lives in this country is you have, whether it be Democrat or Republican, it's either, you know, militarize the cops or put crazy ass budgets into the military industrial complex for the world police. Which, by the way, America's not the world police. It's time to stop acting like a fucking are is what it is, man. I'm so sick and tired of that shit. Really, I am. And I think everybody else is too, for that matter. And I think people are finally waking up to the fact that it's like, no, we don't want to be the world police. We shouldn't be the fucking world police. Like, stop trying to make us the fucking world police. All these other countries need to step the fuck up and do their own goddamn policing for themselves, dude, is what it is. You know? And then you got fucking all these European countries now, like Britain and France and Sweden and everything else like that, that are fucking completely lost now because of the foreign invasion over there is what it is. So anyway, yeah, it's just a shit show. Best advice I can give to those guys right now is denuke immediately. Because when Islam takes over those countries, man, you do not want them to have nuclear capabilities against us, is what it is. So, anyway. But, yeah, this is some of the stupid shit, though, that was said by Bibb and Drummond last night. Specifically, Drummond was right here. It's important that we give officers tools, and part of the tools is when you have this permitless carry for individuals who probably shouldn't have a weapon. They're carrying their weapons now because, you know, we don't have probable cause to just approach them and say, hey, are you carrying anything? Oh, you mean you don't have illegal and unconstitutional Bloomberg stop and frisk fucking racist shit anymore, asshole? You mean like that? Oh my God, so shocking. But yet you actually kind of do, motherfucker, because if these people that you're stopping are already known criminals, pretty sure you have probable cause to search them for things, even with permitless carry, because shocker, they would be felons in possession of firearms, which is a big fucking no-no in this country, and also completely breaks constitutional carry laws in the state. What you're really saying, Wayne Drummond, is that you're a piece of shit police chief who should not even be police chief, and most likely were only hired because of affirmative action, like most of these fucking black police chiefs in this country, honestly. Just like that outlaw woman who was police chief of Portland, Oregon years ago, and then became one over there in Pennsylvania now, and is even worse in Pennsylvania now, for God's sakes, you know? So, like, it's some of the stupidest people ever, man, for real. Anyway, staying on with Wayne's stupid shit here, he said, So that's the tool that was taken away from us. So officers don't have a tool to approach folks based on probable cause. They're not going to violate someone's constitutional right. So having that particular tool would more than likely keep someone who shouldn't have a weapon to carry a weapon, especially in downtown Cleveland, where we have enhanced patrol with our downtown service units. Okay, so right there, you just admitted it, dude. If you supposedly have cops downtown patrolling, then what the fuck's the problem? Do your job as a police officer. You know? If you think this person's a fucking threat or whatever the case be, dude, probable cause to search, I'm pretty sure you have that right now. If you think that if they look shady as fuck and they're gonna go do something, dude, maybe, I don't know, follow them and then stop the fucking crime in progress then. You know, seriously. It's not that hard to figure out, dude. But that's the problem right now, is you have Bibb and Drummond who don't actually want to do their jobs, is what it is. And so instead of doing shit that would actually help Ohio and control the criminal element there in the major city of Cleveland, they would rather fuck off and try to blame gun laws, try to blame constitutional carry specifically, is what it is. And I'll be goddamned if I let these fuckers ever try to take away constitutional carry from me or anybody else for that matter, dude. The entire point of constitutional carry is, one, not having to ask your fucking government for permission to an actual God-given right, a right that is the only right in the Bill of Rights that specifically states shall not be infringed. And two, money issue. The entire thing was a money grab. It always has been. The entire permitting system in this country is nothing more than a fucking cash grab by the left and the right, for that matter. It's a way to keep people under thumb. It's a way to actually create Hitlerian gun rosters in many cases, because you're creating rosters of people that are actually being permitted, is what it is. So you know for a fact they would actually have a firearm at some point, then, is what it would be. So you're backdoor creating some kind of gun registry, is what it is. Which, by the way, is illegal as fuck and unconstitutional as hell. So, anyway. Moving on to one of the other stories we want to talk about here. We got Cleveland man describes moments gunman opens fire on downtown street, grazes his foreign co-worker. Said a man who opened fire at a crowd of people in Cleveland's warehouse district early Sunday morning is still on the run. Action News spoke to a man whose colleague was injured in the shooting. The victim is from Poland, and Saturday was his first day in the United States. So now what do you have? You have a guy from Poland, or a girl from Poland, I'm not sure which one it was here, who is going to go back to their home country and be like, man, America is such a bad guns country and stuff like that. It's the Second Amendment is so horrible in that nation because they can't control their violence, and basically become an anti-gun douchebag over their own nation. And that's the problem, right? That is some fucking Final Destination shit, man, for real. Like, you literally come to America from another country, and your first day in the fucking shithole major city, you get shot by some fucking criminal. So it's like, and actually it does kind of make me wonder, would that almost equate to a war crime in some cases? Or at least like an international incident anyway, for that matter, because you actually have a foreign national being shot on U.S. soil. That does seem like a pretty bad lawsuit waiting to happen right now from the country of Poland being able to sue United States of America then. Kind of like the way that you have Mexico trying to sue America for all the people that were killed in El Paso, Texas shooting a few years ago. So, yeah. Either way. So his American colleague, Chris Messina, said some of his coworkers came to Cleveland to train with his company, so he took them out for drinks at the Barley House Saturday night. Okay, so it was all this Chris guy's fault then, apparently. So he never expected one of his colleagues would end up leaving in an ambulance. The poor guys from Poland, they came here, and the first 24 hours they wanted to experience America, and they went to a baseball game, they went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they experienced a mass shooting, according to this guy. So welcome to America. Well, first of all, it wasn't actually a mass shooting, you jackass, because a mass shooting, like we talked about yesterday, to qualify has to be 3 or more dead, not 3 or more shot or injured, which is what the left keeps trying to do with things. And even back then, the original qualification of mass shooting was actually 4 or more dead, not including the gunman, plus some other people injured as well on top of that. In this case, it was like 9 or 10 people who were just shot in various legs and arms and stuff like that. Not trying to say it's not terrible, obviously. Just simply, saying this is not technically a mass shooting is what it is. Just gang violence is what it actually is. Anyway, it says new surveillance footage from West 6th Street shows the terrifying moment a man opens fire on a group of people around 2:30 a.m. Sunday morning. In the video, you can see the crowd running for cover. Quote, we just started walking out and onto the sidewalk when, we started hearing bang, 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 like 20 bangs. But the first couple, the first thought was, hey, that's fireworks. And after a while, it was obviously not fireworks. That's what this Chris dude said. Everybody just kind of froze. So you literally went deer in headlights, unfortunately, and scattered and all that. One of the guys from Poland was actually hit in the thigh. So after that, stopped about 15 seconds later. Okay, so that right there, like the fact that he's like, kind of like, that totally says to me that was a Glock with a fucking switch on is what it is, dude. 100%. Said that dude had a Glock switch on that fucking gun. So whether it be an 80% that was made and, throwing a Glock switch on there, or whether it be an illegal Glock that was stolen from some FFL or whatever the case be, and had a switch thrown onto it that was already felonies and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely 100% does not sound like, and again, makes sense to what I said to begin with in this whole thing yesterday, which is when you look at where these people were shot, it was all like lower body, torso area and stuff like that, and like legs, thighs, feet, etc. So if you're shooting off a gun and you don't know how to control it because it's, basically rapid firing because of that switch, it's going to go everywhere. And so you're going to have, bullets going every which way is what it is then. And it makes sense why you wouldn't have those people be able to actually control their shit then. And you'd have a bunch of leg shots or foot shots or ankle shots, whatever the case be there. So anyway, thing on the, like I said, about 50 seconds later it stopped. Everybody started coming out of a little bit at a time. And then, of course, there was people all over the sidewalk. It was horrible and pretty disturbing. That Chris guy said his 39-year-old Polish colleague was grazed by a bullet. First thing I noticed was he had a hole in his pants, and then he's like, oh, I'm bleeding. And he was obviously probably the least of 9. He was grazed, so he did not ride to Metro together. So we did ride to Metro together, and he was seen by a doctor. That Chris dude said to him, the shooting felt random, because it was, dude. Like I said, and even that Brandon guy from Langley Outdoors said it when he first said it, when he was talking about this a couple days ago. He said it felt like a gang initiation to him, which makes sense, honestly. To me, like, I've seen shit like that before, and 100% it feels like some gang ritual shit, dude. It's probably some 13, 14-year-old little punk ass, maybe even younger than that for that matter, being told, oh, you want to be part of, the fucking 6th Street Crips or whatever the case be. Oh, go to this fucking warehouse area and just shoot some people. And you're in the fucking gang now. And I guarantee that's what it was, man. So, anyway. So, of course, nobody knows what really happened. I didn't see the shooter, but where I stepped by and took cover, felt like the shots were coming this way down the sidewalk, is what that guy recalled. So nobody shot into the bar. Let's see. Nobody shot into the bar. Like, everything was here on the sidewalk. I would say somebody was there, and he just decided to spend 10 seconds and empty 20 rounds into a crowd of people and take off. So, that's about as random as it gets. Okay, so 20 rounds in 10 seconds. Yeah, that was 100% somebody mag dumping out of a Glock switch, dude. It was literally just pulling the trigger and being like, so. Anyways, this 19 Action News spoke to police chief about it, and very promising leads in the case. I guarantee they know who the fucking person is at this point, dude. Or if they don't, they have like a general description of that person. And it's probably, again, they're going to find him eventually. And again, it'll probably be some under 21 person. But yet, keep blaming constitutional carry, Bibb and Drummond, even though that had nothing to do with anything here. And it was most likely somebody under the age of 21 who was already a convicted criminal. So, anyway. And then, of course, you got this one, which I thought was pretty good, which was people who work in the warehouse district, quote, unsurprised by shooting. Yeah, because they know it's a fucking shithole area, dude. And that's the entire point of the matter. So police still searching for the person responsible for Sunday's shooting that left 9 people injured. However, it was not slowed down. The hustle and bustle of the work on A workday Monday, according to businesses and those who work in the area. Common message echoed by many. They are unsurprised by the violence, calling it just a part of doing business downtown. Yeah, because you're doing business downtown in a leftist-run hellhole is what it is, dude. So we live in a cave, right now I'm going to lunch, said Dan Corin, an attorney who works on the street. Said people who work up and down the street crowded the restaurants, bars, apartments, and companies do not believe they will drive away the customer base, saying this type of violence is becoming commonplace in the city. You mean it has become commonplace in the city? That's another thing too, by the way. So you have piece of shit Bibb trying to blame constitutional carry that's only been in effect for a little over 390 days right now, not even 400 days right now. But yet, when you look back at the crime statistics in Cleveland, you had an uptick in violence going all the way back to at least 2019, even before the 2020 race riots. So, yeah, 100% constitutional carry has nothing to do with anything, dude. And you're just a fucking piece of crap, Justin Bibb, who is trying to pass the buck to everybody else because you're an ineffectual shithead fucking mayor that has no business being in the mayor's office is what it is, or any other position of power for that matter in this country. Just like that moron Pete Buttigieg. You know, you could easily, honestly, at this point, you could switch fucking Bibb with Buttigieg in the transportation secretary's role, and he would be just as bad, honestly. So, anyway, the entire point of the matter is Cleveland has always been on uptick for the last 5 years, basically, of violence in their fucking streets, and it's only gotten worse now that you have less cops on the streets, is what it is, man. Less police presence means more criminals, means more criminal element, meaning criminals think that they have the fucking streets, and because you're not actually doing enough to have a better police force because you have it under the watchful eye of a moron in Wayne Drummond who is pushing a bunch of anti-gun bullshit, why would anybody in any position of law enforcement, whether it be a cadet in an academy or a fucking actual seasoned cop for, you know, some veteran cop for like 4 or 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is, why would they ever want to work for Cleveland when you have one of the worst police chiefs and 100% the worst fucking mayor possible right now? Oh yeah, that's right, you wouldn't. So anyway, continuing on though, people said it was becoming commonplace there. This person said, I see shootings most weekends, and I know that they occur. Just doesn't surprise me, I guess, said Kelsey Taylor, another attorney whose office is just a matter of yards from the scene of the shooting. Taylor said that while she does not go out late at night in the area, she does believe that some crowds will still arrive for evenings and weekends, adding that the recent shooting does not change how she feels about her safety. Said others advise staying aware of the surroundings and using common sense. Yeah, like carrying a fucking gun and not going into a bar that's going to disarm your ass is what it is, dude. How about that? Said Aqua Del Luqua manager Calhoun Jacquin has worked in the area for 20 years, saying that things are just a part of working downtown. It has happened, and it will probably continue to happen. Unfortunately, this is a big city, so I feel like this is going to happen. In the summer, people go crazy, it seems, but the police here are very quick. Not quick enough, apparently, though. Not quick enough like they were in Dayton, where they literally smoked that motherfucker in like 10 seconds. Let's see. Said staff at nearby restaurants say that they were crowded Sunday afternoon, just a matter of hours removed from the shooting. Probably people don't even know about it at that point, I'm guessing. And do not believe the incident will stop the summer traffic. Cleveland business owner Bobby George also offered an additional $50,000 to anyone who provides a tip leading to the gunman's arrest. God, I wish I knew who this fucking guy was now, dude. I want that 50K, man. Seriously. Like, come on, people. Give me the goods. Give me the goods. So I can be the one getting that tip money. That's quite a bit of cash offering up, dude. See, I feel like that's honestly like modern day bounties in most cases, honestly, though. As it should be. And then, of course, you got Cleveland Police Union responds to, this is the last one we're going to read here. Cleveland Police Union responds to Mayor Bibb's claims of action after shooting. Said Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb said live on Action Cleveland 19 on Monday that he is set to announce changes and initiatives to help the city in a pursuit of more police applicants and transfers. Bibb was vague about the details because he doesn't have any, is what it is. But said the announcement would be coming today. Yeah, he was vague about the details because his details are fucking shit, dude. He has no fucking plans, no fucking reason, no actual incentive to actually bring cops into Cleveland, dude, because he's a fucking worthless ass piece of shit mayor is what it is. Anyway, it says Cleveland, like many cities across the country, is battling to find people for open positions because, again, you defund the cops and you get what you got. In 2021-2022, City of Cleveland lost nearly 400 officers to resignations, retirements, and transfers to other departments. And I think it was mostly transfers to other departments is what it was, dude, that don't want to live in shithole cities with it anymore. Early morning hours of Sunday, as bars let out West 6th Street, downtown, Warehouse District, suspects shot in a crowd of people standing on the sidewalk. 9 people were shot and all survived. David Police Chief Wayne Drummond pointed out several times since the shooting, vacant police positions were not to blame. Yes, they fucking were. And in fact, there was full detail of officers working West 6 on Sunday. Well, clearly they weren't working the right fucking spot then, buddy. So this afternoon, Jeff Fulmore, a president for the Cleveland Police Patrolmen's Association, held a live conversation with 19 Action News about Mayor Bibb's current plan and what's being done to fight so-called gun violence in Cleveland. So, yeah. Needless to say, it's a bunch of fucking idiots is what it is, man. I swear to God, and I'm going to say it like it is right now, dude. I'm going to let this be known right now. If we do not go into civil war in this country in the next year or so, and I'm actually able to become governor of Ohio in 2026, one of my first acts as governor is I'm going to hold a summit of mayors down in Columbus. And guess what's going to happen to all those fucking Democrat mayors that come to that? Oh, yeah, baby. It's going to be the fucking cuffs getting slapped on these motherfuckers for all the crimes they're committing right now in office, starting with that piece of shit Justin Bibb and that moron Wayne Drummond, because we're actually going to invite the fucking police chiefs there too as well. And they'll be arrested by Ohio State Police, will be then. So, for oath breaking, for deprivation of rights or color of law, for all these other crimes that we're now going to make felonies in the state of Ohio. So anyway, yeah, enough is enough of this shit, dude. It's time to lock these fuckers up and get new leadership in these areas. But anyway. Hang on, I gotta go grab something right now. There's a link here. Yeah, it's one of the AK Nation News things from like a couple days ago. What a group of 14-year-olds said after killing an Uber driver. Yeah, again, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that you have fatherless homes everywhere in this country. It's these people that want to sit there and be raised in single mother households, most of the time on the welfare system, unfortunately, and no father figure to be around, no really adult to be around most of the time, because mom, if she isn't on the welfare system, she's working, 2 different jobs at various, minimum wage places to keep the household going is what it is. And so you have these kids all day long, no fucking parental figures, no adult figures, no role models in their lives. And so they're just out there on the fucking streets, running the fucking streets, dude. And it's sad. And it's disgusting that we continue to see this over and over again, because all it does then is it leads to these younger and younger groups of kids now that are starting to become these young little gangs of kids and stuff, to where they turn around and you essentially have, crazy child murderers is what it is at the end of the day. So, like I said, there are solutions that we could implement right now in this country. The problem is they're not being done the correct way. And unfortunately, when you have these people that make up programs and things like that, you just have them be rife with fraud and abuse is what it is. And you have all these people, putting their hands in the fucking cookie jar and just yanking the cookies out, instead of actually letting that cookie jar overflow and be full of cash, basically, is what it is. You have all these people that are, from that area or whatever the case be, that try to jump into this program, and they just grab the fucking money out and run with it is what it is. And it's just embezzlement like crazy. We go back to even the PPP loan theft back in 2020, man. There's a reason why most people have not been arrested for that, and it's because most of them that did the theft there were minorities in this country. The only people that were really arrested were like people like the Red Ranger and stuff like that. The original Red Ranger, Austin St. John, who did one of those loans, and then it turned out he was embezzling and stuff like that. And the funny thing was, when even I looked at it, I think there's actually grandstands on this channel still from that time, where there was a whole set of Somalis and stuff like that in Minnesota. I think there was actually some here in Columbus too, if I'm not mistaken, who were in cahoots with each other and making all kinds of false claims for PPP loan stuff. And it was just total fucking fraud and abuse is what it was, dude. It was fraud, it was embezzlement, it was everything else like that. And they really should be in prison right now on RICO Act charges is what it is. As a giant fucking corrupt ass corporation and stuff like that is what it would be then, man. Because they were basically doing a criminal enterprise is what it was. I think actually some of them did catch similar charges to that. Now I'm thinking about it. I think a lot of them was embezzlement charges, but either way, it was like only a couple dozen, not like several thousand is what it should have been, honestly. But anyway, it's just a bunch of shit either way, man. And then, of course, you got criminal politicians like DeWine who did one for his fucking minor league ball team in Indiana and stuff like that. He never got charged with anything. It's a bunch of shit, dude. And that's what my biggest problem with our country right now is you have these people in power, these various politicians in power, that as long as you have political clout or you have, you know, actual financial fame, essentially, is what it would be then. Like you can basically buy your way out of anything kind of thing. There is 100% this 2 to 3 tier justice system in our country where it's basically 100% if you're on the right, you're going to get railroaded like a motherfucker now. If you're some leftist piece of shit Antifa terrorist type or whatever, or some BLM type terrorist, you'll get bail funded out of jail immediately. You'll get the charges dropped by some Soros DA. And if you're rich and powerful and everything else like that, you will never see the inside of a fucking courtroom ever. And that's the problem right now. And this is my biggest issue with our country currently. And then you have these people sitting there falsely claiming like, oh, the rule of law is like the whole thing. And oh, it's there's no double standard or whatever. It's like bullshit, dude. If there was no double standard right now, when they're sitting there trying to indict Trump on stuff like that, you would see both Joe and Hunter Biden indicted on millions of fucking felonies right now. For whether it be various drug stuff, whether it be all the Ukraine shit, whether it be everything across the fucking board right now, dude. Hell, whether it be crimes against humanity, for God's sakes, for the shit that they're doing with the cluster bombs in Ukraine now. Like, seriously. Like, at what point is enough, honestly, dude? It's just ridiculous is what it is. Some days I honestly can't wait for things to pop off, because at least then we'd actually be set back to square one maybe in this country. But then at the same time, I think, like, okay, if we are in that weird, you know, flux of, like, civil war or whatever the case be, like, how bad is things going to get? And am I actually going to be able to be fully functioning at the time because of my own health issues? So it's a weird thing. It really is. Either way, it's just irritating. It really is, man. And then, of course, like I said earlier, you got these fucking dickhead mayors and stuff like that just being ineffectual nothings. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They have no business being in office, but yet they're still allowed to sit in office when they're openly committing crimes against the people of the state is what it is. And then, of course, when you go higher up in politicians circles and stuff like that, it's actually crimes against Americans in general. So anyway, that's about it for today, though. Like I said, we'll be back probably in about 5-6 hours from now, depending on when Honda wants to start his chat tonight for the Taco Tuesday on Rumble. At least I assume we're still doing that. I mean, he said he was going to do it. So I take his word on that one, since it didn't happen last week. But then again, it makes sense why it didn't happen last week, because he was busy with family and shit. So hopefully we'll do it tonight then, and we'll be able to bullshit and everything like that. Sunday was okay. Hopefully tonight will be better. And then we can actually do stuff there is what it is. Other than that, I will not be doing a Wednesday chat. I can tell you that right now, unless something major happens where they actually catch the dude here in Cleveland or whatever, then I might do like Grandstand based on that or whatever then. But unless they catch that guy sometime tomorrow or whatever the case be, I'm not doing one tomorrow. Next chat will be Thursday. We'll do the first episode of Buckshot Thursday. And then we'll do Freedom Friday. This coming Friday for... I'm not sure what the topic of the day will be, honestly. something. I'll figure something out in the next couple days. Is what it is. I'll find something that pisses me off by then, I'm sure, and we'll do it on that. Is what it is. 'Cause that's usually what it is anymore, dude. Like any of these topics I usually do, it's just shit that pisses me off for that day. Is what it is. So anyway, but yeah, either way, till later. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good day. Check out Honda 420 on Rumble tonight. We'll be over there doing things. Other than that, I'll see you guys on Thursday for Buckshot Thursday. If anyone wants to be on the panel, we will drop the StreamYard link in the comment section that day. So be here if you want to talk about 2A, if you want to talk about gun calibers, etc., etc., etc. We'll be talking about mostly on that. Other than that, that's where we're at for the day. Hope you guys enjoy this episode, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Later.